Time for our Grain Gridiron top performers. Hopefully by now you know about Grain Restaurants, started by two local businessmen on Main Street in Newark. They've quickly grown to locations in Trolley Square, at the Summit Marina on the C&D Canal, the Lewis Ferry Terminal, and in Kennett Square, and their newest location, the Star Campus in Newark, where I've been several times and had a great meal and great atmosphere. They've become nightly or weekly hangouts for some, gathering spots for special occasions for others, or just a new place to try and usually return to. The menu has something for everyone, some usual stuff and some peculiars, but best of all, you never leave disappointed or hungry. My favorite part of Grain is knowing that it was started by two neighbors who had an idea, and that idea came only to fruition, but has flourished. And fortunately, they love sports and love supporting the community. We can't thank them enough, Jim O'Donohue and Lee Michaels, for supporting our podcast. All right, Marty, as we've done and we'll continue to do, we've got an honor roll list of top performers, and then we will name the top performer of the week. And the top performer will earn a $25 gift card from Grain, for Grain, I should say, and from Grain. And they will present it to their head coach, or we will present it to their head coach, because we have confirmed that DI regulations say that players cannot receive anything that is of monetary value, which of course a gift card is. They can receive a t-shirt, trophy, stuff like that. But we thought it's a nice way to recognize the coaches as well. And so they will receive one. All right, I'm going to start with my three, and then my three honor rolls, and then I'll let you with yours. I'll start with Caravel Trey Hamlin. I saw him make his 2 punt returns for touchdowns. They were 70 and 50 yards. And Marty, you and I were talking off air that if Hamlin doesn't do that, there's a good chance maybe Hodson wins that game. That's
right.
Only because that was kind of, that second punt return was kind of a knockout punch. And Hodson never recovered from that. So he's my first honor roll. The other one is Middletown's Austin Troyer, 19 of 31 for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. And it doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're going to put up those kind of numbers, it's worth being named in the honor roll. And my third honor roll is Appoquinimic's Noah Hoff, 6 receptions, 211 yards, and 2 touchdowns is what we've seen in several places. I can also tell you his biggest catch, believe it or not, was before it was either after his first touchdown or his second touchdown, but Appoquinimic was driving, Marty. They were in the red zone. They had a 4th and something, and Noah dove for a ball, bobbled it while he looked like almost in midair, and grabbed it before he hit the ground and was tackled, but it was a first down. And then Appa went in and scored. Daniel McConomy scored on the next play. And that was as big a play because there was a situation in the game, and I don't remember the exact particulars, but I do remember thinking to myself, if Odessa stops stops Appoquinimic here in the red zone, this game has flipped the script. And so it was just a huge play by him. And then, of course, he had the 2 long passes that he snared and hustled into the end zone, sprinted into the end zone, I should say. And he's been flying under the radar. He's not under the radar anymore. And teams are going to know about Noah Hoff, and he's going to pick up their best defensive player is going to be covering him. And now they've got Dylan Griffith, who is another excellent wide receiver. He was the number 1 ranked defensive back in a lot of people's top 20 lists. And they also have Don Montebell, who flies under people's radars, but he's an excellent athlete, only a sophomore. And so they've got other weapons. And so that's the good thing. It's not like, okay, we'll shut Noah Hoff down and then that eliminates Appo's passing game. That's not the case. And of course, it also takes some of the pressure off of Daniel McConomy that they are starting to put together a passing game. So Caravel's Trey Hamlin, Middletown's Austin Troyer, and Appo's Noah Hoff on our Grain Gridiron top performers list of the week.
And I just wanted to add, I bet Daniel McConomy is probably the biggest fan of those guys because they do take the pressure off of him and open the lanes up. When you have a passing game that can stretch the field, guys like Run DMC are going to take advantage of it, and he will. For mine, I have 2 of them. The first one was an out-of-state game. It was Woodbridge beat Colonel Richardson 52-12. Colonel Richardson could have used some infantrymen in that one. It looked like it was a blowout from start to finish. Ja'Carry Banks for Woodbridge had a 99-yard interception return and a 98-yard kickoff return. So he was probably one tired kid after this game, but you don't often see 98 and 99-yard returns from anything from in the same game, let alone from the same kid. So great performance from Ja'Carry Banks. And then I kind of went off the beaten path a little bit. Laurel uh, knocked around Brandywine. Started out a pretty close game, and then Laurel kind of pulled away. But the Brandywine quarterback, Crisden Wright, hooked up with Anthony Drummond for 3 touchdowns, 310 and 35 yards. And I always like to go kind of look off to some of these smaller schools. And these are 2 very good players. So Brandywine quarterback Crisden Wright, excuse me, Anthony Drummond, the wide receiver, hooking up for 3 TDs, and Jakari Banks for his 99-yard interception return and his 98-yard kickoff return for my top performance honor roll.
Yeah, and that Brandywine was playing up the class against Laurel, against a Laurel team that you and I both think are going to go pretty deep in the Class 2 playoffs.
And I think it was like 19-13 as it approached halftime in that game. It was a close game for a while.
Cool. All right, so congratulations to the honor roll list for our Grain Gridiron top performance. And our Grain Gridiron top performer of the week from Lake Forest is Jameer Snell. And I'm going to let Marty tell you about what he did. But before I do, we found out about this because the Lake Forest coach reached out to us and said, hey, check out these stats. And we did. And we were like, wow. And so, folks, if you've got a player who you want to be considered for the Grain Gridiron top performer, let us know. You can tweet us directly. You can put message on Facebook. However you can reach out to us and let us know about it, because that's sometimes the only way we find out about stats. We're relying on the media coverage during the day. We're relying on coaches who don't often have their stats. We record on Sunday mornings. And a lot of times coaches, especially for the Saturday games, they don't have the stats out there yet. But if you've got some stats for a player who we should consider, please reach out to us and let us know. All right, Marty, tell us about Jameer Snell's game.
Well, just to go off that point, the coach is Josh Webb, and he's one of the offensive coaches for Lake Forest. And you and I were going back and forth on text last night trying to pick a player of the week, and we thought we had to narrow down to a couple people. And then Josh Webb sent me this and said, he said, hey, does this look like a Travis Hunter type performance? Of course, anybody who knows Colorado and Deion Sanders now knows that Travis Hunter is the kid who's the everything kid for them now. All right, this is what Jameer Snell did. Again, playing up a class. They beat Caesar Rodney 38-13. He had a 96-yard touchdown run. And I was watching this game on YouTube, by the way, or on the NFHS Network. He also had a 72-yard pick six as time expired in the half. Caesar Rodney kind of threw up a prayer, trying to get something to happen, a call. This kid picked it off and then weaved his way through about 9 of the 11 defenders for a touchdown, long after time had expired in the half. By the way, then he comes back, an 85-yard touchdown catch. And by the way, he had 3 interceptions on defense. I mean, this is just, it's an incredible, one of the best performances I think you and I have ever seen stat-wise from a kid. So again, real quick, this is Jameer Snell, 96-yard touchdown run, 72-yard pick six, 85-yard touchdown catch, and 3 interceptions on defense. If that's not the Grain Gridiron performer of the week, I don't know what would be.
I'm not sure we'll see stats like that the rest of the season.
I know.
We'll see, but boy, that's like a career stat type of thing.
And real quick, to put a bow on that too, because you had mentioned it, for guys like, people ask, well, why do you guys seem to have more information about some teams? It's because the coaches. Josh Webb has been a friend of the show. He tweets me every week different stats. Gene Deladon from Sally, same thing. A guy at St. Mark's says all these different coaches. Yep. If you want to know, hear more about the kids, we need the information. Just send it to us. We're out there. We're easy to find, and it really helps us because we want to highlight kids like this. Yeah,
Ken Anderson, the head coach at Red Lion, sent me a text message at 10:30 last night with his stat sheets. And we'll talk about him in just a second, or about his team. Anyway, congratulations to Lake Forest Jameer Snell, our Grain Gridiron top performer. Will be giving a gift card to any of the Grain 5 locations across the state of Delaware to head coach Freddie Johnson, and we'll get them out to him. All right.